Okay. Are we live?
That is a good question. How can we tell? Because there should
Doesn't
be.
it tell us? I thought it told us, like you have gone live.
Yeah.
To get started, click the button below to select a
No,
stream.
I have already started streaming. Control E. I'm trying to think of what that stats. There we go. There we go. Yes, we are live.
Oh, and we've been live
And
for
we've
the
been
last
live.
few minutes.
It's just
Lovely.
it's just part of our charm, you know.
We're too old to be doing this, folks. We're both 65, and you can see that we are, well, we're amateurs at this.
Well, but we're getting better
We're
at it.
getting
We're getting
better.
better
We're
at it
getting
because
better.
down here we've been live for a minute while we've been
Oh my
staring
gosh,
at the stream.
I'm
So
wondering what
fortunately,
was going
we
on.
didn't talk about. We finished our talk about all the gossip you got on your morning walk from your friend. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Agatha Christie. They watched on Bill Peschel,
And I'm Teresa Peschel.
and we're here.
And I'm just the talent. I have nothing to do with the IT because
Oh,
I
sure.
wouldn't even begin to know what to do.
Throw me under the bus. Thank you very much, dear. Yes.
You were an expert, and I have no idea what to do other than to smile at the camera and point at the little light and say, "Is that on?
Is that on? And
Is it
tap
recording? Oh, yes,
Yes.
I think it is."
Well, we are going to assume so. We're working through OBS, and we don't have YouTube
Which I don't
up.
even know what that means.
That's the software, the streaming software we're using. That's what you're seeing on the screen right now, is OBS.
Does it have a does that stand for something?
I am not sure, and let's go ahead and talk instead about
Agatha Christie.
About Agatha Christie. This is why we're here. We saw the movie last night, a TV show from Estonia.
1993. This is a film, it was about an hour long. This is a film called The McGregor Case, but what it actually was is The Unexpected Guest. This was a play that Agatha wrote in about 1958. It is one of those rarities among her plays in that it is a completely original play. It is not based on one of her short stories. It is not based on one of her novels. It is not based on one of her radio plays. It is not based on anything that she had done before that she did some serious rewriting on to turn it onto a play. Like The Spider's Web, The Unexpected Guest is its own thing, unrelated to anything else in her oeuvre. And it starts out and you think, oh, it's not a murder mystery at all because a stranger walks into this unlocked house and finds the dead man in the wheelchair. And then seconds later, he turns on the light and there's the dead man's wife looking absolutely shocked, holding a handgun. And she confesses, I did it. I did it. I did it. And he has driven his car into the ditch. And so he stays and hangs around to, he decides to help her. Now, this film is The Unexpected Guest. We have seen two versions of The Unexpected Guest, both of them Indian, Dund and another one whose name I can't remember, except that involved 3 escaped convicts, and boy, did they really ramp up the soap on that one. But it's a fun movie. It's a really enjoyable movie. We have never, there is, as far as we know, there is no English language film of The Unexpected Guest, and I don't know why, because it's actually a very good play. It was kind of hard to find the play, but I did find the novelization. If you want to get an idea of what the play is actually like, and you can't find the play in your Agatha Christie collection of books, like which I couldn't.
In the next 24 hours.
Oh, yes,
that's the 3 convicts in, confronting the woman.
They are playing. The 3 of them together play the part of Michael Starkweather.
Mm-hmm.
But we had
this is from our book, International Agatha Christie, which is available in hardcover and trade paperback.
Oh yes, and bring up the list of people who have made films of The Unexpected Guest.
All right.
But anyway, no one has ever filmed The Unexpected Guest in English, and I don't know why, because the play really functions. It is very twisty, it is very turny, and even this little 1-hour presentation on Estonian TV gives you a good feel for how complicated the plot is, and yet it moves along smartly with a small enough cast that you can figure out pretty quickly who is who and why they're doing what they're doing. And and thank you, Charles Osborne, for novelizing this. She covers everything, including why Michael Starkweather hangs around, because he ran his car into the ditch, and so he's kind of stuck.
Right.
And so
9 times.
This has been, The Unexpected Guest has been filmed 9 times, 10 times now that we have
The Estonian version.
The Estonian version, 10 times. And we've got Indian, we have Italian, we have Japanese, we have Indian, we have Indian, we have Indian, we have a second Japanese one. We have Indian, and we have Indian. India loves this. India loves this plot.
This version.
Don't know why. India absolutely loves this plot. But the English American, the English-speaking film industry does not love this plot, and I don't know why. And I think this has lost money on the table for any film producers who are looking for a new Agatha Christie project. I think you ought to put on The Unexpected Guest.
Well, it's especially nice is that it doesn't take a big cast. This is one of those in which you basically have a triangle here with here, this is from Mist, 1973. The fellow in the wheelchair is the evil husband.
That's his unfortunate wife, and this is the wife's lover.
And this is the wife, yeah, who's a politician, I believe. And
right? Yes, he is a politician, which is right out of the novel, right out of the play.
So
and then there's
essentially
there are 4 people. The battered wife. In this case, they change her name from Laura to Helen. So Helen Warwick, Michael Starkweather, The Unexpected Guest, Julian Farrar, who is Mrs. Warwick's, Helen Warwick's lover, and then I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Okay, there's Helen Warwick, Michael Starkweather, Julian Farrar, her lover. You also get the crazy half-brother, who Richard Warwick has helped abuse into craziness, but he may have also been crazy.
Right.
And you get, they had to really distill it down to fit all of this, a 2-hour play into 55 minutes. You get the distinct impression that Richard Warwick didn't fall far from the tree, and that is his half-brother for various complicated reasons of adultery and divorce and widowhood and remarriage, and I am not 100% sure because the subtitles are not the best. They are not the worst subtitles ever, but it is clear that the subtitling job, the names are extremely inconsistent. You'll see Michael Warwick or Helen Warwick written in all kinds of permutations. The usual trouble with verb tense, the usual trouble with pronouns.
What they were doing was somebody ran this through a AI assisted translation, and we encountered this before with the Italian version of Five Little Pigs. Look back for murder. Go back for murder, and that was really incomprehensible.
At times it was.
This is like the second time we're actually reviewing a movie with AI translations, and it was
better.
It was better.
Still has a long way to go.
Yeah.
This is one of those cases where even if they would have had a live person go through the subtitles and correct the names and the verb tenses, it would have made a huge difference in clarity on the screen. And other times you get something that is just incomprehensible, like a goat is a goat. One of the police inspector, our police inspector, Inspector Thomas, he has a constable with him who is a John Keats fan. And yes, this is right out of the play. The constable, who is a John Keats fan, is constantly reciting to him Keats sonnets and so forth. And the software had a real hard time figuring out. Oh, they also added 2 characters for no discernible reason. The guy they're talking to on the riding lawnmower, and again, I'm really not sure why they did it this way, but that is the servant for Richard Warwick. That is Angel. He says
it's Angel. It's
Angel or Angel.
It's Angel.
Yeah,
he's Scottish, as you can tell by the kilt he's wearing.
He has the attitude of
Groundskeeper
Groundskeeper
Willie.
Willie from The Simpsons. He has the attitude. He is the go-to guy for Richard Warwick. He keeps his ammo loaded. He, I guess, helps him with his bathing and toileting and
He's
so
kind
forth.
of a valet.
Kind of a valet. He does a whole lot of things and has for a number of years.
But also, this is one reason why we're...
Oh, the two extra characters. They add two dogs. They add two dogs. I don't know why. A really handsome black lab and a gorgeous looking collie. I don't know why.
And they
but
even
there
have
they are. There they are. And
even
they're
have
even
their own...
named. Yes, they get their own names in the credits.
Yeah. But part of the reason why you could watch this, and it's available on YouTube, is just if you're just interested in the sheer weirdness of it. And I don't want to call Estonians weird. I mean, they obviously, but it's dealing with another culture. And if you know the story, you can follow this. They follow the story faithfully.
Very faithfully.
And it's not their fault that the subtitling is irregular and erratic and
they
random.
But
why do they have this long conversation with the gardener on his riding lawnmower, and he starts it up and pushes it forward, and all I could think of is, I hope
they got product placement money for that riding lawnmower.
No, I just hope that the detective's assistant, he's standing in front of a lawnmower going towards him, and you really don't want to be standing in front of a moving lawnmower. I don't care if the actor is going to stop in time. How would you trust him? But that's
true.
Yeah, but that's just part of the fun of this, is just to see how they did it. And sometimes all you do is you just kind of sit there and you look at them. You look at what they do.
Considering how incredibly limited their budget must have been.
Yes.
And the red wallpaper, they had very few scenes. I think they were either in the yard, in the garden of the house, or inside the house, maybe two separate rooms. They didn't move around, in and out. In a way, it's like when you see a version of The Spider's Web, the two film versions the camera didn't move in and out very much.
Mm-hmm.
And this is true here too. They didn't open it up to the wider world, but they had no reason to.
Yeah, but every once in a while they'll do something that catches your attention, like as part of the plot, because obviously our man's Richard Stark.
You have Michael
Starkweather
and Richard Warwick.
Okay, well, Starkweather is obviously wanting to save this pretty girl who is obviously in trouble, so he creates a threatening note to leave behind to lead them to a crime which was committed a couple of years ago. It was an accident. The child got run over by our villain, Richard
Warwick, because he was stinking drunk.
And they do this as part of creating the note.
Yes, filming through the glass top table is the only way to explain that.
Right, and it occurred on the 15th of May, so they're going to leave it behind to lead police off the track. It's a red herring.
Oh, and the reason why Helen Warwick remembers the 15th of May so well is because that was her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Richard Warwick was indeed guilty as sin of murdering that child with his car, running that kid over.
Although the way they say it, because they say he ran out of the gate and he didn't have time to stop.
But in the novelization, and thank you, Rick Charles Osborne, they spell it out.
Yeah.
Richard Warwick was drunk. He was driving at highly excessive speeds, 60 miles an hour in a 20-mile-an-hour zone. He had his nurse companion with him. He was already at that time crippled from a lion's attack, which is what put him in the wheelchair. He was already crippled from the lion's attack.
But he could still drive?
You modify the car, and she tells you that in the plot.
See,
you can modify a car if you were severely. You can be pretty handicapped and still drive a car that has been modified with hand controls, and so that's what they did. Mm-hmm. And so he is driving, and then the nurse companion, who looks extremely trustworthy, and she is, after all, a nurse, she lies on the stand. And in the novel, Richard Warwick comes back home and brags about getting off in the court case, and, he got away with murder, and he points out to the nurse companion, who never shows up on screen, that you got well enough paid, so what are you complaining about? Mm-hmm. He bought his way out of a murder charge. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't replace Mr. McGregor losing his 7-year-old son. Mm-hmm. That doesn't replace that at all. And he doesn't even get the satisfaction of a a court verdict in his favor.
Right. And McGregor goes off to Canada and vanishes from the scene. And that's part of the
Part of the
subplot
setup.
here is where is McGregor? Is he in? And apparently it shows out that he died like a few years after.
He died in a drowning accident.
Drowning
he died
accident.
in a drowning accident.
Now,
and yes.
The reason why we're watching this, I want to bring up Ida Ever, is because we have a chapter in International Agatha Christie She Watched, because we had 5 Estonian episodes of a Miss Marple series starring Ida Ever.
Yes, she was a huge star in the Baltic states, and I think also in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And that's her.
That's her being
questioned. And she can also play Miss Marple extremely well, and she was in...
it was one of the other movies. Like,
it was the Russian version. It was the Russian version of Peril at End House, and she played the crippled Australian lady.
Right.
So
in the guest house with her husband.
Now, what's really strange about this particular Estonian version of The Unexpected Guest is, until we have a fan, and I can't remember what your name is right now.
So
sorry, I can't remember. But you told us about this. I don't know how you found out about this film, but here it is. This is a new Agatha Christie film that no one even knew existed, existed, and it was lost. This is a completely new Agatha Christie presentation from Estonian TV with Ida Ever, The Unexpected Guest. We didn't know this existed. Nobody knew this existed. And it really makes me wonder how many other Agatha Christie films there are, lurking. They were made in the 80s and in the 90s on some for some TV station in India or Pakistan or
the Soviet Union
or Venezuela. I mean, everybody had TV. Everybody had local TV that was producing stuff. How much is out there that we don't even know about? And this is a beautiful example of you don't know what you don't know. This is an unknown unknown.
Yeah. And now we can also talk about, let's see, the son. Where's the son? The mad son.
Oh, the mad half brother. The half brother.
It was in Mist that the half brother, he watched a lot of television, and he played with this toy gun that he was firing off.
And in the play, Jan, the crazy half brother, he does play with guns. He plays with Richard's guns. And there's Jan, and you can see he did a fairly good pastel, although her dress is rather lower cut than it should have been for Helen Warwick. And look at the beautiful collie. What a handsome doggy that is. And that's the police inspector. But Jan runs around waving guns, and it looks like to the police inspector that Jan is the one who got Michael Warwick. Richard Warwick shot him in the chair, because there are a lot of people who want Richard Warwick to go because he is incredibly nasty. He was within tolerance until the lion mauled him. Instead of him getting the lion, the lion got him on a big safari in Africa back when people used to do this. But Richard has been incredibly abusive to his wife. That is Helen Warwick, to his half-brother, Jan, whom he constantly threatens that he's going to send him to an institution and he will never see the light of day again. Richard Warwick is abusive to his mother. He's very unpleasant to everyone. His mother recognizes how unpleasant he is. And Richard Warwick, of course, also ran over Mr. McGregor's son and lied about it. And Richard is a big game hunter. And now that he is trapped in a wheelchair, this is one of the reasons why they had to move from Norfolk. He sits in his wheelchair with his armed guns. Angel, the servants, helps set him up with them every evening. They leave the French doors open, and I'm not going to say he shoots through the open window. He shoots through the open French doors. They are French doors. They are not windows. You cannot walk in and out of a window. So I don't care what the text says. They are using French doors. The French doors are open, and Richard Warwick will sit there in his wheelchair and shoot the neighbors' cats and dogs. He shoots rabbits, he shoots squirrels, he shoots at anything that he can reach. And they even, I can't remember if this showed up on the film, but in the play and the novelization, and thank you, Charles Osborne, um, there is a discussion where Helen Warwick talks about Richard actually shooting at a woman who had come to the house to sell subscriptions to the local church's fete, and he shot at her, and she made a police complaint, and this is one of the reasons they had to move from where they were to where they are now. And again, thank you, Charles Osborne. Agatha based that incident of Richard Warwick sitting in a wheelchair and shooting out the open French doors at a lady coming up for a subscription and at dogs and cats and rabbits on her brother Monty.
Agatha's brother.
Agatha's older brother, he died in 1929 at age 49, and she wrote this play in 1958, which means she sat on this story for nearly 30 years before she used it. And anyone who tells you that Agatha Christie did not pay attention to what was going on around her, she lived in a little bubble of her own, is not paying attention. And I'll read this. This is from Agatha's own autobiography. Monty's health was improving, and as a result, he was much more difficult to control. He was bored, and for relaxation took to shooting out of his window, we'll say French door, with a revolver. Tradespeople and some of Mother's visitors complained. Monty was unrepentant. Some silly old spinster going down the drive with her behind wobbling. Couldn't resist it. I sent a shot or two right and left of her. My word, how she ran! Someone complained, and we had a visit from the police. And this is what Richard Warwick does in the play. She used a piece of her ne'er-do-well remittance brother who should have stayed off in wherever it was that he went. East Africa, and never come back. A complete wastrel. And if you've ever wondered where Agatha Christie gets her charming but weak male characters from, her brother Monty models them.
Yep.
He modeled them with his own behavior.
Yeah, like Leo in
Ordeal by
Innocence.
Oh,
somebody who is supposed to be a man to take charge, and instead they're fairly weak.
Yes, a man who, no matter what, he will never do. He just won't do enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he will always live off of other people. He will never live up to expectations. You know, his purpose in life is to serve as a bad example. He will always disappoint you.
Yeah, for example, he went off to East Africa during World War I. He stayed there and actually settled around Lake Victoria, I believe. No, it was before. It was before World War I, because he decided he was going to run a ferry service across Lake Victoria, and the family fronted him money. Because Agatha's sister married into the peerage, married into money, so they had plenty to send him. First thing he did was he made a big captain's suit, an elaborate tailored captain's suit for him, and then started building the boat after that. And apparently by the time he was nearly finished, the war started, river traffic fell off, and he sold the ship to the Royal Navy, presumably at a loss.
Probably.
And he then joined, fought in East Africa. The Germans were there as well. They had a colony there, so you had conflicts in East Africa that you didn't know about. And he never found, he was perfectly happy being supported by anybody who was
willing to pony up the money. So he didn't have to do anything. He wanted to be catered to because he was special and he didn't need to produce. So again, Agatha's brother Monty is the model for a great many characters in her later fiction. Mm-hmm. So anyway, getting back to The Unexpected Guest, how did this film work? I thought it worked really well, considering the limitations of Estonian TV in 1993. The acting was competent. Ida Ever was a jewel, as always, in her rather limited role. You know, they had to really truncate the story to fit it into 55 minutes, but they did. The thing I didn't like, besides the subtitles, was, of course, large portions of this are shot in the dark. I have no idea why directors do this. You can't tell what's going on. I see what you've got. Yes, they're walking out of the house, and And that's Michael Starkweather and Helen Warwick, and he's believing her. And by the way, in the play, according to the novelization by Charles Osborne, he has a reason for hanging around, to help Helen Warwick. It isn't just because he falls madly in love with her at love at first sight, because she's such a hot brunette, or hot redhead. They got everything in there. The subtitles are wonky. They're better than what the Italian one was that we saw, but they definitely need a human eye to make improvements. Yeah. But they got everything in here. And it's a reminder that somebody really should remake The Unexpected Guest for British TV. I mean, if you're looking for a property that hasn't been seen, here we go.
Maybe Sarah Phelps could take it on.
Oh, she'd make it really fun. That could be really
It would be really
interesting.
grimmer and darker than you think.
Well, there's a lot of adultery in here because you know that Richard Warwick cheated on his wife. The implication is that he also cheated with at least emotionally, with the nurse. You know that Helen Warwick cheats on her husband. She has a lover.
That's the politician there.
Yeah, that's
They're
the
meeting
politician.
In the car outside.
And she is trying to protect him. She thinks he did it, and he thinks she did it. And this is where the Dund does it rather differently. They changed the play. But in the play itself, Julian Farrar basically says he thinks you murdered your husband. Maybe I don't want to have anything to do with you. And he's not the man that Helen Warwick thinks he is, but fortunately she's finding out now before it becomes really important.
And in fact, that's kind of the scene there. You get to see the wonderful decor, Estonian decor.
That blood red wallpaper, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, again, another interesting thing just to see, because Estonia was under Soviet control for a number of decades after World War II.
Oh, yeah.
So they had very limited access to what you would, and a very different design sense is the way I would put it.
Yes, even though Helen Warwick in her extremely 80s outfits, she didn't quite have the full-on door knocker earrings, but she would have been really styling.
Well, 80s outfits, they tend to, anything over a decade, because the 70s lasted until 81, 82. You always have that kind of
always have that kind of thing. And there was
Hmm.
something, oh gosh, I hate this. My brain is going. I can feel my brain fragmenting, and
maybe
it's
we should
very
talk
irritating.
faster then before you finally run
I'm
out.
already talking fast enough.
Here's another scene, by the way. This is how he made sure that he understood that Helen didn't do it. Of course, he knows who did it, but
Yes.
we won't go into that.
We won't go into that. We will not spoil the twist for you.
Yeah, because it is worth it. If you can get Dund or Mist or in the next 24, especially the next 24 hours, that is a great Indian movie with subtitles, if you can find that. They both tell the same story, and yet they change things, they rewrite things, and but they have the essential core story. They've rewritten it, but they have the essential core story, just as Agatha wrote it. And I think this worked really, really well. I think overall, considering all of the constraints and so forth, this is very worthwhile seeing. They are very faithful to the text. They got everything in here that they wanted, and this is a new Agatha Christie film that you didn't even know existed. Yeah.
And the subtitles are good enough that you can follow the action, and everything is there. And dogs.
And dogs.
And the dogs are not
nice
harmed.
dogs.
The dogs are not harmed in any way, shape, or form. If this was Les Petits, I would not necessarily be able to say that.
But they are fine all the way through. And in fact, I think they actually... No, I guess they don't chase each other. This is the crazy son getting killed at the end.
Not the son, the half-brother.
Half-brother, yes. And and how they're all reacting. And it's just funny to see.
And this is from the play.
This is from the play.
This looks absurd, but
there's the
puppies.
I knew the dogs were there.
There's the puppies.
See, they chase after him
playfully.
Look
at the puppies.
And then, yes, he died. He gets shot, and he has to
Falls into some kind of
pond.
Some kind of a pond, yeah. That's a really weirdly sloped section. They brought him out, but he doesn't look soaking wet and covered with algae like you would expect. And that's his faithful dog remaining at his side. That is Jan's faithful collie.
Yeah.
Because collies are that kind of a dog.
Yeah. So,
but I think overall they did really, really well. Startlingly well, considering the constraints that they were operating under. And we've seen far worse, God knows.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk about next week? What we're going to see next week? We're going to be starting on Roger.
Yes, there was something else I wanted to say about the unexpected guest, and I simply cannot remember what it is. So, yes, we should just go on to the next film. And if you want to pull down Roger Ackroyd.
All right.
Pull down Roger Ackroyd.
You can see how we planned this out.
Yeah, we didn't plan it all, folks. Just the way it works. Okay.
There we go.
So, this is let me bring it over here carefully. There we go. This is our version of the complete annotated Murder of Roger Ackroyd. And as always, with Peschel Press, we provide, in addition to the complete text, let me find it. Like this is a sample page. I don't know if you can see it, but we give you hundreds of footnotes. We give you photographs, period photographs. We give you essays at the back to give you more information about the book, all kinds of things. Anything that would enhance your reading experience. We have our kids read these, and they underline everything they don't understand. And boy, our kids really had things to say about the doctor sees patients in his house. People come to the doctor's house to have him do surgery in his house, in his kitchen.
Well, it's called a surgery, but he doesn't really do that. But
yeah,
we have to explain.
We have to explain. But anyway, there are 4. I'm having trouble with my right and my left. There are 4 versions of The Murder of Roger Ackroyd on film. And we're going to see all 4 of them one at a time. We will do them in date order. So we will start with the worst of them all, which is David Suchet.
Spoilers.
And oh my God, poor David Suchet. He did the best he could. He was and is a professional. And you would think that his TV show would be the gold standard, but when they really screwed up, they really screwed up. And it is, oh my God. Anyway.
Well, and especially because we get to see other versions next.
That are so much better.
Yeah.
So we've got The Murder of Roger Ackroyd with David Suchet. Then we have, and I can't remember the exact timing of this, but there is the Russian version with Konstantin Raikin, and it is flawless. If anything, they actually make certain characters worse. For those of you who are not familiar with Roger Ackroyd, I won't spoil it at this moment because you really should read the book. Even if you can we got lucky. We found a version on YouTube a couple of years ago with English subtitles. Even if you have to watch it in Russian, as long as you have the book at your side, you read a scene, you watch a scene, you read a scene, you watch a scene, you will be able to follow the action. It is that faithful. The only oddities that they add are some, at the beginning and opening, you get clips from the Orson Welles radio broadcast of The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, and you see Dr. Shepard dreaming of running away on a cruise ship. Then there's the Japanese version with Monse Numura, and it is almost as good. The only thing I will have to say against that particular film is that they softened one of the main character's motivations, and that changes how you feel a little bit. You have... For me, it didn't work. For me, that didn't work.
Well, we're talking about a 5-star Russian version to a 4.5 star, or
even
even 4 3/4.
4 3/4 Japanese version.
If you definitely come across it, definitely see it.
It is
wonderful,
and it is extremely Japanese. Every single thing in the novel is in there through a Japanese lens. It is extremely Japanese, and it is simply wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And if you're okay with that character being softened, well, it still works. It works within the context of the film. And then the last one we're going to see is really odd, and yet I think it still works better than the David Suchet, and that is in Checkmate. That is the Chinese telenovela where they took 7 or 8 Agatha Christie properties, including ones that they did not admit that they were using, to the estate. And one of them is, of course, the murder of Roger Ackroyd. So first you get the sequence of
It was Murder on the
Murder
Orient
on the Orient
Express.
Express.
It started with that, the first
And
couple
then
of
the
episodes.
next couple of episodes are the murder of Roger Ackroyd. And after that, it gets harder and harder to watch a given section of it by itself, because once our characters get off the Orient Express and land in Harbin, which is a city very far to the north in China, the threads from other novels start showing up, and you will not see those threads re-knotted back together for another 20 episodes until the very end.
Mm-hmm.
But Roger Ackroyd, as confusing as it is, and this will be, I think, certainly our third, maybe our fourth go round with Checkmate. It is rewarding on its own. And they had to make a lot of changes to suit the overall telenovela arc, where the Chinese Republic is fighting for sovereignty and self-control against the Japanese and the Russians. But I think it's probably, I can't say for sure, it's probably still better as a film and truer to the novel than the David Suchet.
Right. So next time when we come back on the 11th of December, we'll discuss the David Suchet Murder of Roger Ackroyd.
Yes, absolutely. And, I've been having a question all along. Do we actually have anybody here with us today?
Hard to say. I don't know
I
for
can't
sure.
see any kind of, I can't see,
I
don't see a little number.
I don't see a little number, but then we're not directly on YouTube. So
who knows?
If you're
and
there.
Hopefully if you were chatting, it showed up.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. But thank you all for joining us. And remember, next week is the David Suchet version of The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. If you have not read the novel, please read the novel first.
Definitely read the novel. You really should.
You really should. It is what put Agatha on the map. And even if she had driven her Morris Cowley off into the quarry immediately afterward.
See,
hi!
We got somebody.
Oh my God, we got somebody! Hi! Quick, send them a little heart. Oh my God, what a terrible collection of little emojis. That'll work. But yeah, it's you should read the novel. It really put Agatha Christie on the map. And even if she had run her Morris Cowley off the cliff into the quarry and died a fiery death in 1926, she would still be read today for that novel. It is so astonishing. If you haven't read it, you should read it. If you're in the U.S., buy our annotated edition, and we'll explain everything in there that you'll have a question about. And if you're not outside of the U.S., go to your library or buy a new copy from the estate, because they've got all these beautiful new editions with beautiful new covers, and you should collect them all.
Yeah.
But it is a fabulous novel. When we annotated Roger Ackroyd, like I said, we had our kids read it, and dear daughter read it, and she was sure she knew who the murderer was, and she kept going back and forth. It took her several days, and she finally reached the last paragraph on the last page, and she screamed. And she ranted for days afterwards about how completely and totally Agatha had fooled her.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a novel you can only read once, because the second time around, it is a very different book.
Right.
So anyway, that's what we're doing next week. And so we will see you then. And thanks again for joining us. And
bye-bye. And take care.